Hello everyone, Vidya here again with another Facebook Live today. So for all those of you who know me, and for all those of you who don't know me, I'm just going to introduce myself. So I'm Vidya Venkat. I'm a mindset consultant. I help you go from I can't to I can. I've been in UAE for the last 22 years. I'm a proud mom to amazing two sons. They are aged 20 and 18. So I always knew the way I was parented was not the right way. And so when my son was born, my eldest son was born, I was doing a lot of Google research, like many of you. And I thought, you know what, putting my kids in the best education, giving them the best education, sending them to the good school, giving them a lot of extracurricular activities is what my role as a parent is. I used to do a lot of research. I really worked hard to put them in a British syllabus here, one of the best schools. We were in Abu Dhabi then. It really cost a bomb. So I know for many parents that you can relate to that. And then but I started noticing, you know, even when my kids went to these schools, there was still a lot of things that I felt that they could study or they could learn. I don't like the word study. They could learn much better. So even before what I do now, even before that, I started finding out how to engage my kids, how to make their brain work in a very practical sense. So obviously the school was a British syllabus, so they did help a lot by not focusing too much on academics. So it was not about learning 10 subjects or 8 subjects. It was about, they had few subjects to learn, like till year 6 they were only learning English, maths, and science and social were all part of team learning. So I actually unlearned a lot of things with my kids. I learned how grammar can be studied in a very structured way. But at the same time, I started researching. I came up with a lot of resources where I could stimulate their brain. So right from the time when they were 1 year old, my sons, I came up with these sheets, online resources, how to even cut, like, you know, to increase your motor skills and all that. So even before they actually started learning English or maths, I was helping them draw, cut out pictures, and especially and my younger son was left-handed. So even I realized that there are different types of scissors. So for a left-hander, there's actually scissors available because the way they use a right-handed scissors is very challenging for them. So a lot of things. I have a huge set of resources. I will share that with everybody soon, where it's from KG to year 6 with a little of English, maths, but all learning in a very fun way. Luckily, there were not so much social media and WhatsApp and other addictions then, but I still only used to allow my kids to watch TV for 1 hour a week. So every day I used to engage them with these activities. We used to do a lot of puzzles. Like I had a whole cupboard full of puzzles, clay, and there's a lot of craft activities that we would do. I would take them to visit museums or other places, a lot of sports activities too during this non-summer months in Dubai. Take them out for cycling because physical exercise is also very important for our mental health. So yeah, I did a lot of those things, and now after what I practice, which is RTT, which means rapid transformational therapy, I understand how powerful it is for us to have that confidence, the high self-esteem to do well in whatever we do. So again, as I said, even I have done that, guilty as a parent, as a mom. Thought like I put them in the best schools. When I moved to Dubai, I put them in one of the best schools again. But I realized that, you know, that's not really helping them. They had their fair share of issues in these schools. Yes, schools are good. I have nothing against schools. But I think they are not going to be giving that one-to-one, and that's not their job too. They are there to just make everybody learn in a particular way. Especially the Indian system, it's to make people, that's why we wear uniforms. Everybody has to write in the same way, handwriting, your answers have to be the same. So whatever is taught in school, you have to reproduce it. So I always used to think here, it's not, you're not being evaluated for your intelligence, but you're evaluated for your memory. Like how much can you memorize? Like as a child, when I grew up in a state syllabus in India, it was all about memorizing, and I used to find it extremely challenging to memorize. And I was a high achiever, so topped academically everywhere. But I used to always come up with stories to remember things. Like I remember in history, I came up with like a world war. It's such a boring thing, but I came up with some kind of imagination and stories to make me remember, and that was really helpful. So I was doing a lot of that for my own, and I love teaching. So I used to help my other students and other people I used to teach. So that's where I think storytelling is so important. And in the British syllabus, they do talk a lot about that. Writing skills again. Nowadays, with texting, we hardly write, but there's a huge brain development that happens when a child is actually sitting down and writing, drawing, and another amazing thing. So these are the skills that we sometimes don't give importance to as parents, because we think, getting straight A's is the most important. Or the other thing that I really feel is so bad for kids is that to do well in all the subjects. As parents, we want them to excel in all the subjects. We want them to excel in extracurricular activities. So they should be good in singing, dancing, playing instruments, and being good in sports. But I want all the parents to just step back a little and think about your own life. Are you good in everything? I know I'm not. I can't draw. I'm not very good in drawing. I can write, but probably not. I can't write a book. There's so many things that we are not really good at. But when it comes to our kids, we expect them to be good at everything. So a lot of times our kids end up being like how many of us have been. This is what our parents have told us. So it's always, as parents, we parent the way we were parented. I know at this generation, my generation of set of parents, we have more awareness. That's why you're all watching me. We know that we can parent our kids much better, but still inherently we go back to the default way of being parented. It's not bad, but we in an environment where there is so much of awareness and so much of distractions too, and exposure. I think it's a good time for us as parents to actually re-evaluate our parenting. Like whenever I have clients and parents bring me their teenagers or kids, like I'm working with a kid who is 7 years old and into addiction. So it's like always like, can you stop her from doing something? Yes, I can, but it also goes back to your parenting skills, right? Most of the time our kids got addicted to something like devices and everything because we gave them that. As a child, we rewarded them by allowing them to watch movies on iPad or cartoons, play games. When we wanted our own time or we had to do something, we would give them the device. So I want you as parents to just look back at a baby's life, right? So when a baby is born, all of us as babies, we were in the mother's womb. I like this favorite statement. It was a 5-star hotel, right? This is what Marissa Peer of RTT, the founder of RTT, talks about always. That the mother's womb is like a 5-star resort. So you get food whenever you want. It's like a cozy atmosphere. And the most important is you have a deep connection with somebody. But then what happens? So the baby forms a belief that my needs are met. I'm the most important person in my mother's or my parents' life. But then what happens when we come out into the world? All the parents, I'm sure you remember, I remember that my son's waking me up at 3 a.m. when they're hungry. So no baby thinks then once it's born, you know what? I'm hungry now, but if I wake up my mother, what will she think of me? Ye log kya sochenge? Baby doesn't think that. And the same time, when a baby is hungry or angry, the whole world knows. The baby doesn't think, oh, my poor mother is been awake the whole morning and working whole day, let her sleep. No, because we all had the belief that our needs have to be met because that's the parents' job. But then as we grew up, we started realizing that our needs are not being met. And that's when we started forming beliefs, which is from 0 to 5 years. All the beliefs that we now hold has been scientifically proven. In fact, some people even say that it's up to 3 years, but it's definitely by 5 years. So all of those parents who are still having young kids less than 5 years, it's your amazing opportunity to now give a better life for your kids, write a better canvas, write a better belief for them. So as I said, we form these beliefs from the age, from being in the mother's womb till the age of 5. So when these beliefs are formed, what do we think about ourselves? So for example, when a baby is born, right? If you don't cry, the doctor actually gives you a pat to make you cry. So the baby thinks crying is good. Then when the baby again starts crying, he or she is picked up, right? In the beginning few months, till the baby is probably 1 year or 7, 8 months. The moment a baby cries, we pick it up, we nurture him or her, we give food, we do so many things. So imagine for a baby, which we've all gone through, all of us have gone through this. Imagine that, okay, I was celebrated when I cried. I was celebrated, when I was crying, even when I was few months old. I was picked up when I cried. I was nurtured. I was given attention to. So the baby thinks, okay, this is what I need to do to get attention. I need to cry. I need to, be angry. But then by the time the child is 1 or 2 years old, what do? We punish the same child for crying. We say and especially a lot of people say, oh, don't cry like a girl to a boy. It actually damages the boys as young men. Then they turn out to be men who are emotionless because they are being told, don't cry, because crying becomes suddenly a bad thing. So think of your own kids and think of yourself, how confusing it is as a baby to be told, cry and I will pick you up, I'll give you attention, and then after a few years, you're shaming the same child, you're punishing the child for crying. So confused, the child is so confused, and these are the conflicting beliefs we start developing. And by the time we are 5 years old, we have so many of these beliefs. I had a client who's 50 years old, who all her life thought she's not good enough because when she was born, she was a premature baby and they had to keep her in an incubator. And when she opened her eyes, all that she saw when she was few days old, that it was all strangers, not her mother, it was doctors and everybody, but she didn't know that they were doctors who were there to keep her alive. So she thought, I'm such a bad baby that my own mother is not around me, that my own father is not with me. So that gave her a belief that I'm not good enough. So if my parents are not there, that means I'm not good enough. So there's so many instances I have seen. I've done more than 200 sessions in adults and teenagers. And I've seen that all these beliefs make us come up with this negative belief about ourselves. I'm not lovable, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. So many things that's not enough. So when we have such not enough statements as our blueprint, what do you think we end up being? Right? We have no self-belief. We constantly look for external validation. Somebody else has to constantly tell us, praise us. We're always people-pleasing somebody because we want somebody to say that, oh, what, you're an amazing person. You're good. You're very good. You're helpful. So that's how we grow up into becoming high achievers, people-pleasers, different addictions. They are all coping mechanisms of not feeling good enough inside. And the same thing happens to your kids. So it's even before you put them in the best school and the best university, they've already formed these beliefs by the time they are 5. Now what happens? We think, okay, you know what? I'm putting them in the best school. The school is going to take care of it. The school could have taken care of it if the child had the belief that I'm the best, I'm good enough, I'm enough. Most important, I'm just enough. I don't have to prove something. But that's not what most of us have. We go into these schools, our kids go into these schools with these beliefs of not good enough. Then they start attracting friends. They attract teachers who put them down. They attract people around them who constantly put them down because that's what it's familiar for them. Because the mind's job is not to keep you happy, like the way we were told. The mind's job is to keep you safe. And being familiar is safe. So mind is stupid. It doesn't know right or wrong, true or false. So even if it means that you're put down, if that's what you're used to, are not given praise, your parents not giving praise, that means it's familiar and it's still safe. So that's why for many of us as adults, you would have noticed suddenly somebody comes and gives you a compliment, or somebody at office says something nice to you. You question that person. I'm like, why is that person telling that? What is the ulterior motive? And then we form this belief, don't trust others. We tell our kids, don't trust anybody else. It's good as a child that they should not trust because things can happen bad to them. But then once they are a young adult, they are teenagers, they need to use their intelligence. They have to be given the opportunity to nurture their intelligence, to be confident in their intelligence that they can know right or wrong. You cannot always be there with your child. Okay, you can be till their schooling, let's say even their university, like you keep them with you. What happens after that? They go out in this world, they have to take decisions on their own, they have to judge others, they have to have self-belief in themselves. And all this doesn't come from school. So to all the parents, which I hear a lot when I talk to parents is, when they come to me for the program and they say, oh, you know what, I've just invested in tuitions for my child, or I've just put him in the best school, my fees is so much. I always say, instead of spending a lot of money on external environment, because even if you put them in the best school, can you control all the other kids? Because my son went through that in one of the best schools in Dubai. He was bullied. So I couldn't control that. I didn't even know about it till recently. So you cannot control the actions of all the teachers in the school. You cannot control the actions of all his classmates. So by just putting him in the best school or college, how does it really work? Right? We went through that. I know as parents, we always want to give our kids better opportunities than what we got. But my big request to all the parents is giving them opportunities is not putting them in the best school. I'm not saying don't put them in the best school or college. What I'm saying is first invest in their confidence. Invest in them having high self-esteem. Invest in them having self-belief. And that all comes down to parenting. Because for a child, the teacher may say bad, the classmates may say bad, but if they believe that you as a parent says only good things to them, believe in them, then first of all, they will not attract such people who will say bad to them. And secondly, even if they find one or two people saying that, they're just going to ignore it. They're just going to dismiss it. Because deep down, they know that my parents believe in me. Because look at this, when a baby is born, the baby's only support is first the mother and then the father. That's why I always tell my clients who are mothers, the clients' mothers actually, that unfortunately mothers take a lot of brunt out of this, because obviously we have that 9 months connection. And when we have the 9 months connection, we expect more from our kids, and our kids also expect more from the fathers. Usually, a lot of times get away with it, but it comes down to a lot to mothers. So as a mother, we have to be like, as a parent, in fact, the only thing that we can give our kids, and which is completely in our hands, is self-belief, self-acceptance, and self-love. Now you'll think for a baby or a child, how does it come from? From us as the parents. Because when a baby is born, definitely the baby has all these beliefs that I'm the best, that my needs have to be met, as I said earlier. But then as parents, when we stop meeting their needs, when we stop nurturing them, when we stop putting conditions on them, if you achieve a certain amount of marks, I will reward you, I will talk to you, then you're the best. If you fail, then you're the worst child. I know as a parent, it's easier said than done. Parenting is, I always say, is the toughest challenge you'll ever face. Because, imagine you're all the parents out there, how many of you are working, and how many years of formal education that you've gone through to do the work that you do. But unfortunately, for parenting, there's no manual, there's no degree, there's no learning. It's on the job learning. So you're always learning from your kids. So it's a very tough challenge for sure. And also you cannot be always this amazing best parent, because you go through your own ups and downs of life. You have your own childhood beliefs that you brought in. You have your parenting beliefs that you have got from your parents. So all of this add together is how we parent our kids, how we show up as parents. So that's why many times I tell the parents, like when I work with teenagers or kids, I work with the parents too, because if your child has to listen to you, the first thing the child needs to know is to be confident in you as a parent. And many times we don't show up that way because we are in doubt, because that's what we've been used to as a child, to be in doubt, not being validated. So as a parent too, we have these doubts even more, because there is no education that tells us that we are qualified. And then our kids pick it up very fast. And that's a lot of times when there's this push and pull between the parents, right? Because the child doesn't trust the parent enough. So I've talked a lot about how a child belief is formed from till the age of 5. Now I'm going to talk to you about specifically 4 things that you can do now to increase self-esteem in your kids. It's never too late. You can now, at this moment listening to me, change the way you parent. Sit down and reflect on your parenting skills. How do you do it? Where do you get angry? What triggers you? And you'll definitely see a similarity between your parenting and your parents' parenting. So this is where I want you all to be more conscious. So the first tip I have is, you're not supposed to give birth to you. What do I mean by this? So as I said before, a lot of times, even I have gone through it, I've been guilty of that too. It's like, as parents, we say, oh, why is my child not like me? Why can't he understand maths? Or why can't she get it? It's so easy. Why is she so dumb? Or why doesn't she get it? We tell that to our kids. Why don't you get it? Other kids get it. Why don't you get it? So yes, you have certain qualities. You have certain things in life. Your kids also have their own journey. They have their unique abilities and talents. So I want you to first look at that and tell yourself that, recognize your child's unique gift. It's a child to nurture. You've been given this child to nurture. Your child's job is not to make you happy, is not to love you, but it's your part. You have to be the matured one. You have to be the one nurturing him or her. He's not a pet to be brought into line or anything. He's somebody or she's somebody to be nurtured and loved. So look at what your child's unique ability. Every child has a unique gift and ability. It's up to us as parents to recognize that and to encourage that. So again, the first important, I won't say rule, first important tip is, stop comparing yourself with your kids. They are not there to fulfill your ambitions, to fulfill your life. They have their own journey. I tell this to my kids all the time. I definitely know that my sons are very different from me. There are certain characteristics that they are like me, but there are certain things that they're not like me. So before RTT, I also used to feel that way. Like for me, some things would come very easily, and I'm like, why doesn't it come for them? Like, or if I see them wasting their time on social media or anything, and I'm like, I'm still studying, I'm putting so much work on myself, why don't they get it? But again, as I said, each one has his or her journey. Second most important, just telling them that you love them. Full stop. Not because they had good grades, not because they're looking good, not because they did something for you, not because they're obeying you, not because of so many things. It's not conditional, right? So before you say you love them, just tell them you're enough. That's the biggest learning that you can give your child. I'm enough. Because when a child tells itself, when it's not been loved, it's not been taught to love and accept himself or herself, when he says to himself or her, when he or she says to himself or herself that I am lovable or I am amazing or I'm beautiful, the mind is like, really? No, you're not. But when you say I'm enough, the mind cannot reject it. So please put it in their bathroom mirrors, write it down, keep it wherever they can see it, keep it across your home as posters. Let them see it more and more, and you will see definitely a huge difference in their self-esteem. Because I'm enough, the mind cannot reject it. And along with that, do a lot of physical love, hug them, and keep saying them, I love you. That's it. There's no but or condition attached to it. Now, the third thing, very important, is to give them a safe space so that they can tell you everything. This is something I've practiced with my kids right from the time they were young. I always told them it's okay to make mistakes, but come and tell me that. Yeah, I wanted to hear it from you than from anybody else. Whatever you have done doesn't matter. I'm not judging you. I just want you to tell me. And sometimes it's very challenging. Like sometimes when they come and tell you things that would have really hurt you, but then the way I would handle it is at that moment not judge them, not scold them, allow them, give them the space, make them comfortable, allow them to trust you, to share that with you, because it takes a lot of guts to share such things. And then later you can have a chat with them when they're out of that situation and tell them, you know what, maybe the way you reacted or you did something is not the right way. There are other ways of doing. Then you have a matured conversation with them. I mean, depending on obviously the age, you can definitely nowadays talk to kids above 9 about all these things, because kids now are like super advanced and they understand everything at a very young age. So definitely, give them that safe space that they can tell you anything. And last but not the least, allow them to argue with you, to have an opinion. The reason this is so important is, imagine if they can't argue with you, who else can they argue with? And in this generation of peer pressure and doing so many things because the whole group is doing, that's how we are as a child. We always want that connection, because we had the deep connection with our mother when we were in the womb. So even when we are born, we want to have friends who do similar things, classmates, similar things. That's why we always look for our tribe. So when they are in a tribe, not necessarily all the other kids can think that like them. So if somebody is telling them to do something that they should not do, then your kids having their opinion can actually stand up and say, you know what, no, I will not do this. So all that, again, thinking for themselves, having an opinion, having an argument without raising voices, having a mature conversation is very important. And again, you have to give them that space. So when your kids come to you, I used to do this before. I used to say, it's my house, it's my way or highway. But then I've learned that, and I tried as much as possible to allow them to discuss with me and say, let's have a discussion and see your point. And respect their opinion, respect whatever they are saying, because don't dismiss it. Validate whatever they are saying, because it's very important to validate kids' feelings. Because if you don't validate, they're constantly looking for external validation. And that's where so many people are so fixated on body image, looking good, achieving high achievers, all because of this external validation. So validate their feelings, validate their opinions, allow them to express whatever it is. It's so important. And have an argument. It's fine. Having an argument doesn't mean you're bad or your child is bad. It's just teaching them healthy ways of communicating with people. So the reason this is so important, because let's say after 21 or 22, their friends want to go drinking or smoking or whatever, they know that they can take a decision and stand up for themselves. So it's a very, very big thing. So just to summarize, again, 4 tips that you can right away start doing with your kids to increase and instill high self-esteem is: 1, you're not, remember that you're not supposed to give birth to you, so your kids are not your carbon copy. So allow them to be unique, celebrate their uniqueness, celebrate their unique gifts and encourage them. Second, tell them you love them, that they're enough without any conditions. Third, give them the safe space to tell you anything, so that they don't go out looking for others to say, they can say it to you. And last but not the least, ensure that you can allow them to build a healthy opinion, that they can think for themselves and argue with you, so that later in life that they know that they can talk. Most of the times people do things that they don't want to do because they cannot express themselves, because they have not been allowed to express themselves. So that's all from me. I hope this has been really, really interesting. Just follow this, and it doesn't matter which university or college or school your child goes to. If you follow these 4 tips, your child is going to show up with high self-esteem, self-belief, and can face any challenges or any situations in life. And that's what our success as a parent is. So if there's any questions, then I'm more than happy to answer. Thank you for listening and watching me. Any questions? I think Raya had a question before. I'm just waiting for anyone. Yeah. Yes, Raya. I think you had a couple of questions. I'm glad it was extremely helpful. What about the others? If you can share your feedback, comments on how the session was. That's a very interesting question. So for everybody else who's watching me, please feel free to ask questions or just share your comments and feedback of whatever I spoke about. So yeah, what Raya is asking is, how do you get high school teens to get motivated to excel in maths and work hard? I think I would definitely will ask my elder son about this, because he got 100 in maths for his 10th board exams. It's again very internal. Like, this is what I keep telling parents who come up to me and say that they ask the same thing: how do I get my kids to motivate? So first of all, I want the parents to remove the belief that something is wrong with my child, that he's lazy, that he's not going to do well, he never understands, he's arrogant, he doesn't get what I'm saying. No, there's a genuine reason, there's a block that the child is not motivated. It could be many reasons. One, it could be because the teacher is boring, they don't explain properly. Because the mind gives you energy to what is exciting. That's why kids love playing games and social media and everything, because it gets them instant gratification. Game gives them a high of winning and rewards and everything. Being on social media, getting likes and everything gives them a high. So imagine, even as an adult, the instant gratification of that compared to sitting and doing calculus or sitting and doing subject which you don't understand because the teacher has not taught it properly, or even if the teacher is not taught properly, it's too fast for you or it's too much to study. So the way I work with kids, I do a 3-month program where we specifically look at first month we go and find out what is the lack of motivation. Why? So as I said, as we are born, everybody is born with this belief that I can do anything. And then these beliefs are removed because of the others' beliefs around us. So down when the child was young, somebody must have told him, you're not good at maths. I had a client who always thought she was very bad with numbers, and she's an entrepreneur and she had challenges working in accounting and everything for her company. But when we went into the session, it was something else session, but we went into the session, we went for money blocks, and one of the scenes that we came up is that she realized that till 7th standard she was actually very good in maths, and in 7th grade one of her teachers told her in front of everybody that you're not good at maths. And again, as a child, as I said, because when a child comes, it believes in the authority of the adults. Yeah, first it's the parents, then it's the teachers. So according to her, her maths teacher was the authority in maths. So if she said to her that you are not good at it, her mind said, you know what, that's the truth. So you're not good at it. So after that, she started becoming very bad in maths. So this is just one reason. So what we do in a typical session, we have to go and see what the root cause. So there could be 4 kids with the same issue. The symptoms are the same, but the root causes are different. So we go find out what the root causes are. And second, we remove the root causes of lack of motivation. And third thing is reprogramming, rewiring the mind, which is called as neuroplasticity, where we are making his brain instruct his or her brain. Sorry, I use he a lot. It's not gender specific. It just comes up because I have 2 sons, probably because of that. So it's basically rewiring his mind or her mind to say that you're amazing at maths. And how do we do neuroplasticity? So it's over last decade. This scientific research has been done. So our mind is, I always keep saying, it's like the computer. So there's a big network of integrated network of at least billion neuron pathways. So as a child, when we started forming a thought, a belief, an action, a feeling, these pathways get lit up. So the more we focus on a thought or a feeling, that specific pathways get stronger and stronger. So as I said, somebody kept telling this child that you're not good at maths or something like that, just an example, has made that pathway neuron strong. So every time maths come up, the child can think, you know what, I'm not bad at it. That's the programming, that's a blueprint already formed for the child. So what we do in the session is actually removing that blueprint. So we're going to give a stronger thought that says, I'm very good at maths. And when they listen to the recording for at least a month, we are rewiring the brain every single day. So now a new neuron pathway is formed, which gets stronger than the old one. And after some time, the stronger one replaces the weaker one. So that's how we rewired the brain using neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is nothing but neuro means nervous system, nerves, and plasticity means molding something. So that's what we actually do, mold the brain. Hope that answered your question. Ashwin says, what are the ways to ensure my child feels safe to open and confident? Exactly. So as I said before, it's not going to happen in 1 or 2 days, because if a child, especially if it's a teenager, he or she has already formed a belief that my parents don't trust me and I don't feel safe with them to open up. So it's a lot of conscious effort that you need to be there, hold that space. So start with small things. Let them start talking to you. Whatever they talk to you, don't judge, don't react, just listen. That's it. And when you keep doing that, again, the child's brain has already formed this neuron pathway that my parents are not going to listen to me. So now, by seeing that every day the parent is listening to him or her, we are rewiring that brain again, and the brain at some point thinks, you know what, okay, for a month at least they've been listening to me, so now there are new neurons which are stronger than the old one which said that they don't listen to me. Now the neuron is they listen to me, and that makes the child safe to open up. So just build it one day at a time. Okay, what's the next question? How to get a 13-year-old to stop acting like he knows it all and is the best at everything? Oh yeah, I said this before. I don't know how many of you remember. I said the reason a kid doesn't listen to you is not because he knows it all. It's because he doesn't trust you. He doesn't think you're confident as a parent. So when he doesn't think, and the same thing, the child has it with teachers too. Children will not listen to a teacher so the teacher has to earn the respect of the child. Just because you're a teacher, you don't get respect. And same way, just because you're a parent, you don't get respect. You have to earn that respect. Again, showing up confidently. So the best way for the child to stop acting is for you as a parent to start being proactive, to start working on yourself, looking at your beliefs of parenting. Are you the same? Are you somebody who tells the child, I know everything, just listen to me? If you do that, your child is going to mirror that. So the child is going to do the same. And again, building that trust, building that confidence that yes, you need to have a friendship with your child. With a 13-year-old, it's a teen. But at the same time, the boundaries have to be clear. Setting boundaries is another important thing as parents. And unfortunately, we are not again taught this as a child. Neither setting boundaries or maintaining boundaries. So it's to be very clear, yes, you're the teen, I'm the parent. But it's not just by shouting at them or telling them that. It is by showing up confidently. So as parents, I always tell, first work on yourself. It's like the oxygen mask, right? When you go in the flight, how many of you all the parents would know that even when you're in the flight, what they tell you is first put the mask on yourself, then on your child. So same thing. First you get confident and then your child is going to listen to you. I hope that answered your question. Anyone has any questions, any comments, any feedback on whatever I've shared so far? Would love to hear it. And for all those who are going to watch me after the live, yeah, please feel free to comment and share your feedback. Okay, how do you get a 10th grader to wear jacket in winter? Wow, that's a very interesting question. I'll ask you this back to a parent. How do you do something that you don't want to do? Right? Unless it's a job where you know that you're not going to get paid if you don't do certain things. How many times we don't do things that we really don't want to do? So the reason though our child is not wearing the jacket is because, one, the child thinks that's not required. Right? There's a belief that the child has formed, like, I don't need a jacket in winter. So we need to go and look at that belief of the child again at a subconscious level and find out from where, when, and how has he formed this belief. So it's not about changing the behavior, it's about changing the belief. The underlying belief results in the behavior. So once you go and find out from where he formed this belief that I don't want to wear a jacket in winter, and then we remove that belief, whatever the belief is, why it is, and then he would understand, oh my God, okay, this is why I'm not doing it. Because the 10th grader is 15 years, so he has a mind of his own. Sorry, again, I'm not generalizing. He or she has a mind of his or her own. So that's where you have to work at the subconscious level and find out why your child is not doing certain things. It's not about he knows everything. It's not about he's disrespecting you, but there is a belief that he doesn't want to wear it. So look at the belief, change the belief, then he will automatically wear it. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? I'll just wait for a minute. Thank you everyone for watching me and joining me here. I love talking about this topic because I come across this a lot. When I'm signing up clients, they come and say, oh, you charge so much. And I'm like, you spend on an average 10, 12, 13 years of formal schooling and then 5 years of college and then more with masters and everything. Instead of that, if you can just invest, and this is for all the parents who have very young kids, invest in them now, invest in their mental health, invest in their self-esteem, invest in their self-belief, confidence now, so that you don't need to monitor them. I recently spoke to somebody who was every day taking the iPad of his child, 9-year-old daughter, to office every day. I mean, as a parent, you have so many things to do. Imagine the effort, the time of your precious time and your effort putting into that. So it's like a company, right, where if you can have self-motivated employees, you don't need to spend on monitoring and other control activities. So same thing, if you have a child where who has the belief, who's confident, who's motivated because he has a self-esteem, how much of your time and effort is going to get saved? And also imagine the child, how he's going to turn up. Instead of always being monitored and told not to do, he's just going to do things on his own. So he's going to have a brilliant life because he now is confident, and no failures or no hardship is going to bring him down. He doesn't need. And imagine the child ending up going for therapy and doing so many other things as an adult because he cannot achieve certain things. So if many of us who have gone through our round of therapy and all sorts of external help, coaching and everything, imagine if our parents invested a fraction of that amount when we were children, our lives would have been totally different. So start young, start investing now. That's the reason I keep saying invest in their self-confidence, in their belief now, not in the best academic school. So yeah, thank you so much for everybody watching me, and I'll see you next week with another topic. Please reach out to me at vidya@justbeyoualways.com. You can visit my website, justbeyoualways.com. My Insta handle is Vidya Mindset Changer, and I'm on Facebook on Vidya Venkat profile, and LinkedIn also as Vidya Venkat. So thank you everyone for being up, for showing up, and good luck with parenting. Good luck as teens who are watching. Have a great weekend. Bye.